Hello, and welcome to week 2 of this madness. Last week was crazy. This week was a little less crazy, still crazy nonetheless. I'm gonna also talk about in this video my thoughts on Johnny's testimony, not just like what I was doing all week, because oh my god. So first of all, we gotta conclude the drama from last week. I have not found the people from the New York Post yet. Honestly, I might just leave that alone unless it does actually start impeding in my life. Then I'm gonna have to do something. But until then, I'm just gonna let it be. And all the really dumb Amber Heard fans can continue to share that article all they want. But stick to the end of this video and you'll find out why that's absolutely dumb. So on Monday, I woke up and I was just like, I'm not feeling this right now. I was planning on going to the court immediately and talking to whoever was in charge there, but I was like, I'm gonna wait till lunchtime because I don't even know if they're there yet. Then at lunchtime, I went to the courthouse and it didn't really work out. I had this whole speech planned. I had everything figured out. I had emailed them Sunday night to just make sure that, you know, someone was going to be there and they knew I was going to come in and stuff. I went to the front desk. I asked them, can I speak to the supervisor? They were like, oh, okay, well, we'll get the people for you. Like, I was like, okay, I feel like they read my email. I feel like they know that I'm here. Instead of bringing me the supervisor, they brought down the same lady who had kicked me out. And I was like, she's not the supervisor though. She has like a high ranking, I guess. She didn't make the decision. I was like, I want to speak to the person who made the decision. They would not let me. So they brought down the lady who kicked me out, who was the lady who said, we're not having a conversation. And then they brought down this other guy who I swear to God is like the most, you just look at this guy and you're like, you're a Republican, aren't you? Not that there's anything wrong with being Republican, but you just look at this guy and you know. He just gives that kind of like Trump supporter vibe. Maybe he's not. I don't know. That's just the vibe I was getting from him. He was so rude. Like, I was trying my hardest to like explain this to them and try to like make sense of this in some way. And he was just rude. And I had never seen this guy before in my life. And he was acting like I was inconveniencing his entire life. So confused, but we'll get to that. So I sat down with these two people. I said, listen, I found out why you kicked me out. Makes sense. But the post that you kicked me out over was not about Amber Heard. And so therefore it doesn't make any sense for you to kick me out over this. They ignored everything I said. And then said to me, yeah, we're not overruling this decision. And if you keep bothering us, we're going to ban you from the court grounds. I was just like, what? But I'm telling you, this decision you made, like, it doesn't make sense. I think I said something like, so if I post anything about anybody, like, it's not about anybody involved. And they just kept getting like annoyed and like brushing me off and saying like, if you don't stop, like, you need to stop. And I was just like, can you answer my question, please? So I just gave up with that eventually. And I was like noticeably upset about this. Not the fact that I wasn't gonna get back in, but just because they were frustrating me to such a ridiculous point that I was just getting so angry. This one dude was the dude who was just like standing there thinking that I was gonna somehow like resist him or something. I don't know. But he was standing there like glaring at me like, you're wasting our time and you're wasting the security people's time and you keep bothering us and this is harassment. I was like, I called you one time and I sent you an email. But he said like, this is harassment. If you don't stop, we're gonna kick you off the court grounds, and if you then come back on the court grounds, we're gonna have to arrest you. And I was like, you need to relax. It's like, you don't have official business here. Like, we're being kind to you and letting you in this building. I was just like, my God, you need to chill out, dude. It's just like this moment of me sitting there like, you people have never seen real action, have you? So you're abusing your power because you've never seen real action. I was upset about this. I was just like, you know what? Fine. if you're not gonna let me speak to anybody and you're not even gonna listen to me, I'm getting nowhere with this. Fine. End of discussion. I will sit outside, wait for Johnny to leave every day, and wave to him as he leaves. And I'll watch the trial on the live stream. I don't care at this point. I was just so angry with that. So they walk away, and I was like, fine, you know, whatever. And I was just sitting there for a minute to just kind of like calm down because I was so freaking pissed. And it was really cold out, so I didn't want to go out. 10 minutes later, the woman comes back, and she was like, you know what? I'm gonna go check something for you. And then she walks around the corner, disappears for like 20 minutes, and then comes back and was like, okay, well, I spoke to the supervisor and they're still gonna uphold this decision. I was like, well, can I speak to the supervisor? I was still like very upset, and I was just kind of like, okay, I don't understand why. But, and then as soon as I said like, okay, I don't understand why, it's just kind of like a throwaway thing at that point. She was just like, we're done with this. And just started getting annoyed again. Like, okay, I'm sorry. I'm confused. Can I please be confused? Like, am I allowed to be confused? So I was like, all right, forget all that. I'm gonna go wave to Johnny Depp. So I left the courthouse at like 4:45, walked around to the back of the building where they were leaving. Took me like 5 minutes to find it. Johnny walked out of the building. I didn't expect him to wave to us. Everyone around me starts screaming, we love you, Johnny. I am not somebody who screams in public or likes to draw any sort of attention to myself. I get very awkward. I get very nervous. I literally can't speak, especially around somebody like Johnny Depp. So he came out of the building and I just kind of stood there and was like, he got in his car and drove away. It wasn't really anything different than him just walking in the courtroom because, you know, that's just him walking in the courtroom. It's him walking out to his car. It's the same thing. So it wasn't anything that like really freaked me out. By the way, I do want to mention something real quick. I have been getting people saying that, you know, oh, you're just going to this thing because you're a fangirl. No. I think that I can fangirl a little bit when I see him as he's driving away from the court building. But this isn't a meet and greet. I am not there to meet him. I don't even expect to meet him. I'm there to support him and just be like a human in the room, or just somebody there that he can see as like another person who supports him, because the more people that are there, the more confidence and support he will feel doing this. And what he's doing is very, very important for survivors of abuse, especially male survivors who are afraid to tell their story and have been beaten down by the justice system or whatever, society in general. He needs to know what he's doing is the right thing and that people stand behind him. So that's why I'm here. I am not here to meet him. I want to make that very clear. But it is still exciting to be in the same room as somebody who you have idolized like that for 5 years. So I'm gonna get a little bit excited about that. But as soon as they start doing all the court stuff, I don't even really pay attention to the excitement part of it. It's more of just like, okay, this is what's going on. I didn't think I would even be able to like focus on what was going on in court, but I was able to, because it is very important and important stuff to listen to. So no, I'm not treating this like it's a fan event. But when Johnny Depp walks out of the building, you know, I'm gonna film it as he gets in his car, drives away. Now, the first time I did this, one of my newer friends was actually back there too. He came out of court early to like stand back there and film too. He didn't realize that if you stand on the other side of the road as Johnny drives by, he, being the incredibly kind human being that he is, and I've literally never heard of any other celebrity doing this, especially like a celebrity going through like something hard like this. He rolls down the window of his car, sticks his hand out, and waves to everybody as they drive by. So we didn't know that the first day. We just saw his car drive away. We were like, cool. And then the people across the street were like, you know, if you stand over here, he waves to you. And I was like, what? So Tuesday, we decided to stand on the other side of the road, but we'll get to that.
Hey, Johnny!
So Tuesday, again, I slept in because the morning was, I think, Sean Betts, like, the rest of his testimony, and I think somebody else, I don't know who, I didn't really pay attention to it. Thing is, I know all of, like, the witness stuff. Like, I don't need to watch every single person testify because I already know it. Amber's people, maybe, because I feel like they're gonna keep changing their story. But Johnny's people, they say the same story every time. I've heard it before. I don't need to hear it again. But then that afternoon, they said, okay, Johnny's gonna testify this afternoon. And the online buzz about this, of like the rumors and stuff, are being whispered around like for several days. Like, Johnny's gonna testify on Tuesday. Like, he's gonna like get on the stand on Tuesday. And he finally did. For me, for him to get up there and him to just say flat out, this is the first time I'm able to talk about this, that I just want to tell the truth. It was really, really emotional. The description that he gave that day that got me very emotional was how he was saying that Amber was like this too good to be true person, and then suddenly she just started to become like the complete opposite and this completely other person. And for me, having gone through something similar that I'm not going to get into like the details of, I've gone through that kind of like emotional manipulation stuff. For me to hear him say that and just be like, so I wasn't completely crazy, like this guy that I was friends with, like he was this too good to be true person, and then suddenly flipped and then became this like the complete opposite and treated me horribly. And if I called him out on this, he was like, well, I have changed because I've gotten healthier. And so I thought I was just being an asshole. But then to hear Johnny say that, it was kind of like, so this has happened to other people too. Like, it wasn't me. I think the thing is with these people though, it's not that they change, it's that their true colors come out. Because if I really think back to this friendship that I had, he was always like that, but I just didn't see it because I was so blinded by the fact that we had so much in common. And to hear Johnny describe his relationship in the same way was like, just so, it just hit me really hard, because I was like, so this is something that like I wasn't crazy about, like this is something that actually happens. So it was really just shocking to hear that. Him talking about how his mother treated him as a child. He basically told his whole life story. I was just sitting there like, oh my god, I could listen to him talk for hours. Because, you know, while a lot of it was sad and messed up, and if I were to sit down and have a conversation with Johnny Depp, you know, it wouldn't be about that. But a lot of it, he was talking about like his methods of acting and why he, in like his artwork and what he used art for. And I was just like, I don't know what this has to do with anything right now, but please just keep talking. Like, just keep talking about this. Like, I just wanted to sit there and be like, grab a notebook and just start taking notes of like life lessons to learn from Johnny Depp, like, because it was just like, he is incredible. So during his testimony though, I was like, all right, I'm gonna run over to the courthouse so I can wave to him as he leaves. I will wave to him today. So I ran over to the courthouse at like 4 o'clock and sat on a bench in the cold for an hour watching the live stream. And I missed some bits doing that because while I, you know, had YouTube on and like wireless headphones in, so it looked like I was just listening to music, there are things that you miss because, you know, you're paying attention to like, you know, okay, the bus is coming, where's the bus, gotta get on the bus, gotta get off the bus, gotta walk over here, like, and so you miss some of the things he says. So I'm probably gonna end up rewatching the whole first part at some point because I definitely missed some things, and it's definitely something that I would listen to again, because he wasn't talking about anything in terms of his relationship with Amber. After all that, he went behind the courthouse again to wave to him. He walked outside. I filmed him walking outside, and on Tuesday, before he got in the car, he stuck his arm up and waved to everybody and then got in the car. And then we ran across the street to like catch his car as he was driving past. And there was like a group of about 10 to 15 people, and I was in the middle of it, just kind of like standing back, holding my phone, and then he drove past. For me, it didn't feel fast at all, but my phone picked it up. It was fast, that I couldn't get a screenshot from it or anything. He didn't like look at me. It was like a split second, but it felt much longer than that. It's very hard to explain. but it was kind of like standing there like, oh, that was cool. But again, it was also the same thing of like, you know, it's just seeing him drive by, seeing him walk out, seeing him walk in, like, same kind of, it wasn't anything super personal. Wednesday is when it got super personal. So Wednesday morning, I woke up at 9:45 to watch the live stream. I hate waking up before 10. I really hate it. So I got up, laid in bed, watched the live stream, spent the day doing my laundry, ate lunch here, you know, just kind of chilled out, and then again at 4 o'clock ran over to the courthouse and sat outside, and it wasn't that cold. I wanted to show Johnny some subtle support in some way, so I wore my shirt that is his tattoo that says Silence, Exile, and Cunning, because I just thought, like, that's what he's doing today. He was silenced, he was exiled, and now this is his cunning plan of revenge. That's not a good description of it, but you get the gist. He says that it's like words that he lives by. So I was like, I'm gonna wear this shirt to like show support. He probably won't even see it. That day I was by myself, stood on the side of the road again. I didn't stand by the gate to watch him walk out the door. I stood on the other side of the road. I was just like, I'm gonna stand here as he drives by. I'll give him a wave. And I didn't notice, but by the time that his car pulled around, all the people around me walked away. So I was alone, like completely just by myself. And I didn't notice this until the moment his car drove by and he made eye contact with me and waved at me. And then I noticed there was no one else around me. And it was like this, it was so weird to describe. I was standing there actually going like this as he drove by, but because I am so awkward in real life and I really hate drawing any sort of attention to myself or doing anything that no one else is doing, I was kind of half-assing this. If you don't know, Johnny does this a lot. He came out of the London trial on the last day and just kind of stood like this. He did it several times, like at film festivals in 2021. I just was like, he keeps doing that, so I'm gonna do that to show that I listened to him tell this horrific story the whole day. And I'm not gonna get into all that because, you know, you can watch it. I mean, there's not very much to say about that because all you need to do is just listen to him. Just listen to him tell it. That's all he wants, that's all you should do. Just listen to him. So there's not very much to say about that, but I was sitting there just like intensely listening to this all day, relating to some of it, but also like just completely shocked by a lot of what he was saying. Like the whole like Amber put nail polish on a tissue to try to make it seem like he had like broken her nose. Disgusting. And it was so heartbreaking to watch him tell the story, but also something that I think he needed to do and that we all needed him to do. So I'm very glad that he did, but it was also very, it's just so awful that he even has to come to that. This should never have taken place, and it's so fucked up that it did. Anyway, as his car came out and drove past, I was standing there like this, and as his car came closer and closer and closer, I was like, he's gonna see me doing this. Oh my god, he's gonna see me doing this. Oh my god. And I chickened out the last second. I couldn't do it. But he drove past, and it was like this moment. He had sunglasses on. For some reason, I could still tell the exact moment we made eye contact, and I just kind of went like, that he had his hand out, it was like waving like this. So I just kind of went and like kind of mirrored what he was doing because I was so freaked out in this one moment of it just hit me like, it's like your entire body just freezes for a second. Then his car kept driving and I was like this close to just completely breaking down in tears because it was like the first time in my life that anybody that I've completely idolized like that has noticed my existence. The first time. It was shocking. It was just, I was shocked. So I almost completely broke down crying, and it was like in that moment that I was like, you know what? I don't even care about the fact that I'm not allowed to sit in court anymore. None of this stuff even matters anymore. I am just completely euphoric right now because that was insane. And again, I know this isn't a fan event, but it's just him driving out of court. I'm not sitting there in court fangirling over the fact that I'm in the same room as him. It's cool, and at times I sit back and go, like, where the hell am I? But it's not like I'm sitting there going, oh my god, I'm in the same room, this is so cool, we're having such a fun time, and it's such a fun party. Like, no, it's not that. So I almost broke down crying, and I was just in this completely kind of like emotional shock state of just happiness. And I walked to Starbucks and sat outside having a frappuccino, texting people, like freaking out all over Twitter and stuff. Like, I was just like, this is insane. This is insane. And I got this really, really cute screenshot of him waving to me in the video. My phone picked it up perfectly. It's my lock screen now. My lock screen has been J.K. Rowling for 4 years. Now it's Johnny Depp. We've moved on. So we actually started the cross-examination like for the last 20 minutes on Wednesday, which I was dying laughing because Johnny was just messing around with Amber's lawyer, and it was the funniest shit. And I'm sorry if you people want to sit here and say that, you know, we shouldn't be pointing out how funny this is, but like, I feel like Johnny would find it funny too, and find us finding it funny. So I don't really see a problem in doing that. He's the one joking around on the stand, and I think he's using humor to cope with all this. I think it also shows that how much he is healed, because like when he was testifying in London, I don't think he was joking around like this. I don't think that he was like this relaxed, especially according to people who were there. He was terrified, and so to see him now like completely zened and just kind of chilled out. I feel like he's reached a point where he's like, he has nothing left to lose. He's had everything taken away from him. So there's just nothing left, and now he's gonna fight for his life, and you know, if he loses his case, oh well. Like, he doesn't care that much at this point about winning or losing. He just wants to get his story out there. And he did, and he was done getting his story out there, so he was just very kind of like, you know, ask me anything. Whatever you do, like, you're gonna try to twist this in whatever way you want, but at the end of the day, this is the truth, and I just told all the truth, and you can't change that. He was just messing around with them, and the sass level and the jokes he was making was just my kind of humor, and also just pure gold. So that continued into Thursday, all day Thursday. Thursday, actually, I went to the courthouse to eat lunch there at 1. To kind of just say hi to everybody who I'd become friends with. Because the last time they saw me, I was a hot mess. And while I was eating lunch, 2 officers approached me and were like, are you busy? And I was like, yes. I thought I was allowed in the building. Like, please don't kill me. I was allowed in here. Nobody said I wasn't allowed in here. So they pulled me outside and they were like, all right, well, somebody, they didn't say who, but somebody went to the judge and told them your situation, what happened, how your post was not about Amber, and the judge said that you can come back. I was like, oh my god. And it wasn't like this huge moment of like, yes, because I had gotten so used to being like, alright, I'm just gonna watch the live stream and go there in the afternoons and be like super chill and stuff and not have to get up at 6 a.m. every day. I was starting to kind of enjoy that. But now they were just like, you can come back on Monday. And I was like, what? Like, how did this happen? How did this get to the judge? How did she make, like, and it just was like this moment of like the ultimate, like, you tried. Like, they tried so hard to get me kicked out, but it didn't work. And I think it's just the judge is just not taking their shit, and it's like, you know, this isn't about you kicking people out of court. This isn't about you trying to manipulate things or anything. This is about somebody getting justice. This is a court case, not a freaking circus. And I think she's very much on top of that, because she's the one who set all the rules of, like, you know, you can't be signing autographs, you can't be taking pictures with people, you can't be like greeting fans and stuff. Because I think she's very much like, this is not a circus, this is a court case, and I very much agree with that. And I'm very glad she's doing that. I was like very much like, oh my god, like she actually understands my side, like she sees what happened. So then the officers were like, okay, just be careful what you're posting on social media. Don't be posting anything about like what goes on in court and stuff, in terms of like, you know, I can't post photos of the wristbands they give us every day, or like talk about what the jury is like, looks like. I was like, okay, I won't do anything, I promise. I'd like, don't stalk my account. So I'm going back on Monday. I'm gonna be in the courtroom on Monday watching the last bit of Johnny's cross-examination live, which is gonna be crazy. It was actually kind of nice watching it on live stream because you can see all of his facial expressions. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to see all of his facial expressions from where I'm sitting. I'm nearsighted. I have to wear glasses just to see the stand at all, so should be fun. So anyway, the last 5 minutes on Thursday. Now, I'm just going to say before I say anything about this, I'm going to do something that they should have done before they did anything. Played anything, said anything. I'm going to do something. Trigger warning. Trigger warning, because we're going to discuss self-harm. So, Amber's lawyer decided to do a little plan to mess with Johnny's head and to play him audio that I had heard before and analyzed already because it was played at the London trial. The only thing was only 2 minutes of it was played at the London trial. There was another 3 minutes that they added on here, and it was audio of Johnny begging Amber to cut him with a knife because he was in such emotional pain. And if you don't know the time period, this was July 2016, after Amber had said all the allegations and come out as this victim and basically ruined Johnny's life, and he was destroyed at this point, like emotionally. Amber broke her restraining order, went to a hotel in San Francisco to meet up with him and have a little discussion. I don't know the context of all this. I don't know how the discussion led to this, but he started threatening to cut himself and was saying like, if you don't cut me, I will cut myself. At some point he did. Someone found a photo of him at a Hollywood Vampires meet and greet like the next day or a couple days later, with cut marks on his chest that were very clearly done intentionally. So he did end up doing that. I don't know what this proves in terms of him being abusive, because I'm a mental health advocate, okay? I have been since I was 13. People who do that aren't a threat to other people. They do that to punish themselves. They do that because someone or something is causing them so much emotional pain that they either think hurting themselves will relieve that emotional pain because the pain receptors in your brain will focus on something else, or someone is making them believe that they are a horrible person and they need to punish themselves for being horrible. That's the two scenarios you get with people who self-harm. Something would have been causing that. People who do that aren't just complete psychopaths who just pull up a knife and like, I'm just gonna start slicing things around. Like, no, that's not what's going on here. So I do not, for the life of me, understand why Amber thought that would be a good idea. Like, why on earth would you play that audio? It makes her look bad. To anybody who knows anything about abuse or mental illness, it makes Amber look awful. First of all, why is she recording that? Second of all, why isn't she helping him? She's not doing anything. Telling him to not do it because you're recording and you want to look good is not going to actually help him. And at some point during that audio, she says to him, that knife is dull, why don't you use this one, it's sharper. How does this make Johnny look bad? All she's doing actually is just increasing stigma for mental illness, which is just one layer of the absolute disgust that this was. Because when they played this audio, Johnny had no memory of this event at all, because I think he blocked it out of his memory completely, because it probably was so traumatic that he doesn't remember it. He didn't remember this at all, and they played this audio for him, and he was listening to it. Maybe he heard the first bit in the UK, but he was listening to the second half for the first time, didn't remember this, and it probably brought up some sort of memory and like triggered something in his subconscious that he had tried to forget. And I think especially when Amber started like repeating to him several times, there's love here, Johnny, there's love here, I love you, there's love. That moment, I was sitting there watching this just like completely frozen like, and I just saw, like, he's gonna start crying. He's gonna start crying. He's gonna, like, this is triggering for him. You have to turn this off. Like, why are you playing this? This is fucked up. This is so fucked up. He did. He started crying a little bit. You could just tell after that, like, he was angry at what they had just played. He didn't think that it should have been played. He was just looking down. And then Amber's lawyer was like, you know, I'm gonna move on to something else now. So I was like, so you just put him through that and made him listen to that and didn't have any follow-up questions, nothing? You're just gonna play that and move on? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Then he was just like, oh, it's 5 o'clock. It's a weekend. Sorry, we gotta leave now. So they basically put him through all of that, and then we're just like, okay, have a nice weekend. And he's not allowed to talk about it because that's just legal proceedings. Like, he's literally not allowed to talk that out and sort through his trauma or anything with anybody. And he's not allowed to, like, look for support online. He's not allowed to do anything because he's on the stand. He's under oath right now. He can't talk about that. They also left the jury with that audio as the last thing they heard. Everybody was just, like, you could hear this silence in the live stream, at least. Like, you could just hear this silence in the courtroom and this awkward moment because Johnny broke down and the lawyer was just kind of like, so moving on. You could just feel like this was not okay for them to do, and everybody knew that. And they just left that as the last thing that everyone was going to go into the weekend for 3 days remembering. My heart just shattered for Johnny because I was like, he's not okay right now at all. Like, you could see it in his face. Like, he was just looking down and just looked so uncomfortable. Like, he was just having some sort of, like, trauma flashback. I've seen this in people before where they have, like, this trauma flashback and they're just not paying attention to anything that's going on except, like, what's in their brain. You see him in the live stream look up at Amber's lawyer and just glare at him while, like, the judge is, like, saying, okay, you know, have a nice weekend, everybody. Like, he just looks up and just glares at him. I think in that moment it was, like, less of him just kind of, like, joking around and, like, making fun of the fact that they don't have any evidence, to him kind of, like, being reminded of just how horrible Amber is, how much she had lied to him and how much she had put him through. The weirdest thing was after that, when he walked down to stand back with his lawyers, he looked over at Amber. For the first time that I've seen him the whole time, whether being in the room or on live stream, he has not once, because I know the layout of the room, he has not once looked at Amber. He said that he would never look her in the eye again. He would never look at her again. Meanwhile, she's been turned towards him the entire time, staring him down, giving this stupid ass fake cry face like that anybody with any sense of logic would look at it and just be like, come on. So for the first time after all of this, he walked back to his lawyers and looked at Amber. He just looked over her for like a couple seconds and just stared her down, and then turned back and just kind of looked up to the ceiling and went home for the weekend. And I was there outside the courthouse, shaken up by this, like, kind of just in the state of, like, I hope he's okay. Like, I want him to know we support him, and I really want to make sure that he's okay and that he knows he has love. And so I went back behind the building again, stood on the road, and as he drove by, again, I walked away from the group this time on purpose, stood by myself, and as he drove by, purposely looked him in the eye and waved to him. And I wasn't paying attention when I was filming and my hand got in the video, but, you know, and he smiled at all of us and waved, which, again, like, I don't understand how you could think he's a bad person when somebody who just had to relive a very traumatic experience and finally get hit in the face with the memory of what all this was that I think he blocked out because it was so traumatic, that he was just hit in the face with that, and yet he's still able to walk out of court and drive by and wave to all of us who are there to support him and show that he knows we're there and appreciates that we're there, which none of us expected him to ever do, but he does it anyway and smiles and tries to look happy and like everything's fine. I don't understand how people can genuinely think that he's a bad person. Like, I haven't even really interacted with him. All I've done is made eye contact with him and waved. The second time that we made eye contact and waved, it wasn't this euphoric moment because, you know, I just watched what had happened in court and was heartbroken and just wanted to show him love in whatever stupid, small, telepathic way I can. I don't understand how anybody can see him do something like that and then still sit here and say that he's some sort of monstrous person. Like, it just, none of it adds up at all to me. Sure, he gets angry. He's a human being. Like, come on. Like, he's not allowed to get angry now. He doesn't hurt other people in his anger. He hurts inanimate objects. Like, anybody who's not abusive. Really, Amber has no arguments. Her only thing is, he did drugs. He did lots of drugs, and he did so many drugs he doesn't remember abusing me. The thing is though, Johnny's only been addicted to opiates. You don't become abusive if you take too many opiates. You know what happens if you black out because you've taken so many opiates? You fall asleep. Because that's what they do. They put you to sleep. They slow down all your muscles and you fall asleep. You would not physically be able to abuse anybody if you were, or anything really, if you were blacked out on opiates. Her argument there is just complete nonsense. She has nothing. So yeah, her story just makes no sense on any level. Yeah, that was my week. That was Thursday. So that was the whole week last week. Everything that happened. My thoughts on some things. I could sit here and make a whole separate video about my thoughts on that disgusting audio. Nobody's talking about it. And people who are mentioning it either be like the media and just be like, oh, it doesn't look good for him, he looks insane. Or it'll be like people on Twitter going, just played him audio of himself self-harming. But they never explain like the details of how messed up that audio is. Because I'm telling you, I've listened to it. I've desensitized myself enough to listen to it. Not to the point where I could watch his reaction listening to it, because that was hard as fuck to watch, but I've desensitized myself enough to be able to listen to the audio and not just like completely freak out or get triggered or anything. I do it so that I can discuss it without having to play it for people, and I can just like point out like, he says this at some point and this is what he's referring to, or she says this and this is why this is wrong and why you shouldn't be saying this. So if you want to see me do a video about that, let me know, because I will gladly make a long discussion about that, because it's something that if you're going to put out publicly at this point for everyone to see with no trigger warning, no explanation, something that should probably properly be discussed, not just people kind of mentioning it like, what is this? This is weird. He looks crazy. This is wrong. It needs a proper discussion because it is a very complicated thing that obviously was very traumatic for Johnny, and you can't just play that and then just move on. Like, you can't do that. So if you want to see a video from me doing that, I might just make one anyway. If I have time. I'm very busy, especially since now I'm going to be back in court. So I might not have time to film a video about that, but I'm going to try to, because I feel like that is just something that needs a proper video discussion about, because holy shit. Anyway, that was my week. Good luck to Johnny Depp tomorrow with the last bit of his cross-examination. I hope somebody asks him about that audio, because he needs to have that explanation on the record, because otherwise it's just you're playing this audio and anybody could draw any conclusion from it. And I know he definitely probably does not want to talk about it, but if they're gonna play that, you know, he's kind of forced in that situation now that he needs to discuss what was going on there. He shouldn't have to, and I really wish he wouldn't have to, but he kind of has to now. Thank you, Amber. You're still torturing this man, even though you broke up with him 6 years ago. Anyway, that was my week. Thank you for watching, and I will be laughing about the fact that the judge said screw you to the people who tried to get me kicked out. Eve Barlow and the Amber Heard fan, who herself has now been kicked out. So I think all that drama is over now. It's done. We're moving on to week 3. Halfway. So yeah, thank you for watching. Feel free to subscribe to this channel if you would like to see more videos and updates weekly from me, or don't. I don't care. I've been getting a weird amount of followers and attention online, and it's kind of freaking me out a little bit because I just have never gotten attention in real life. So to suddenly have a video hit 2 million views is a little weird. Just a little weird. Only slightly. I don't know how to keep up with all of this. It's a lot. So thank you for following and supporting me, but I don't know how to handle all of this attention. It's very weird and I don't know how to react to it. So thank you for it. I appreciate it, but I'm kind of just sitting here like, ah. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'm gonna go now because I need to eat dinner and go to bed because I gotta get up at 6 a.m. I'm gonna go. Thank you for watching and have a nice day. And justice for Johnny Depp.